she watches the trashiest TV of anyone that I know, like of absolutely anyone. So shout out to Rebecca. And
moral of the story is start breaking legs, people.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
career choices get way better.
Literally break your legs and just see.
As far as like controversies,
yeah, because
Mueller report, Kavanaugh, and then because the
Iran thing seemed to die off pretty quick. Like it doesn't seem to really be a problem anymore.
Not really.
Looks good to me. We're live.
Oh, we're out here. We're doing it. Thank you for joining us. My name is Donovan. This is
Colin.
There he is. He's right here. This is Salt of the Streets podcast live stream episode 77. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
77. Wow. Jesus Christ. Thank you again for joining us. So, we're out here. What's today? It's the 25th of January, 2020.
The day of the Trump defense. The first day of Trump defense and the impeachment
already
stuff.
happened and over with. Yeah,
it
went for like 2 hours. It was weird. I didn't even realize I took a shower, came out, and it was done. And I was like, what the fuck happened? I don't mean I was in the shower for 2 hours. I mean, I watched it, and then I took a shower, and when I came out, it was done, and I was surprised. That's what I mean. So
I've had showers that last 2 hours.
I don't think I've ever taken a 2-hour shower before.
Because it starts as a shower, and I'm like, maybe I want to take a bath. And so then I'll plug the thing, let it fill up.
Yeah.
Shut it off, take a bath, and then do it one more time. So I count that as a shower.
And then do it one more time. Jesus Christ. I've never done it twice.
I'm just baller like that.
Word. Well, thank you again for joining us. We are happy to have you guys here today. We got a great show brewing today. We are going to talk about impeachment, of course. What the fuck else would we talk about for the 10th, 11th episode in a row or some such shit?
Dude, it won't go away.
This is Brett Kavanaugh 2.0 is what this is. Like
and Mueller report 3.0.
Yeah. It's something else.
This is how many... Okay, out of the big, massive, major, long-term consequences, is this number 3? As far as like controversies,
yeah, because
Mueller report, Kavanaugh, and then because the
Iran thing seemed to die off pretty quick. Like it doesn't seem to really be a problem anymore.
Not really.
The way that it was made up, the most interesting thing, right? Or not the most interesting, but the most recent interesting thing was during the Democratic debate, one of the first questions that Wolf Blitzer asked, I think was maybe to Bernie Sanders, and it was something to the effect of, we were just on the brink of war with Iran. Like, you know, what are we going to do? And it's like, in what fucking world were we on the brink of war with Iran? Like, was the clock at, at what point were we at yellow or orange or whatever? Like, come on, man.
Red?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we were never at any point, like, we are going to actively deploy, all of our forces to Iran and we're going to invade. Like, that was never even up for discussion. So, that was really weird. It's strange that that's the way that was being put out there, Dude,
it was strong, though, for like a whole weekend.
For like a whole week. Yeah.
It's like a lot. Fucking, I remember listening to some of the Joe Rogan episodes that came out then. And that dude was legitimately scared. He was like, dude, I'm nervous. Like, I'm straight nervous.
I had several people ask me about it in that time frame. And they're like, well, what are you thinking? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not worried about it. Like, I am not actively concerned about this. Like, I'm not tripping. I'm not fucking, it's not even occupying space in my mind. Like, I'm not thinking about it on a daily basis the way that I'm thinking about some of these other things, Like, not to say that this wasn't a big deal, but
I mean, I thought about it, but the more I thought about it,
but I wasn't broken up about it.
The less concerned I got, the more I thought about it. I was like, no, this is okay.
Well, and
we can figure this out.
When the more time went on, it's like, well, this seems to be okay. Like, it seems to be that things have turned out to be all right. So,
and then the rockets fell. Did we talk about this even on the last show, or was that in between the last show and now?
I am not sure. I would have to look at the date of when that happened. But
God, I hate it when people that do podcast stuff talk about the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, you mean the rockets on the bases? The rockets attack on the bases?
They shot into the Iraqi base.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was just like a day or two before. Excuse me.
Well, good. Then I shall not repeat myself.
Yeah, no, that was on the 8th that Iran launched rockets into 2 coalition bases. No Americans harmed. Boom. So
no Americans killed. Apparently, we found out later there was some more people that got injured. And had some traumatic brain injury or something like that.
Right. Having to do with concussions and stuff from the rockets.
Yeah, which was like one of those controversies that was over and done with within like a day.
Yeah.
Everybody got really pissed off at Trump for lying. Nobody got hurt. It's like, well, I mean, nobody died.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. So after that, we're going to talk about the Virginia gun rally. We're going to talk about our 2 listener request topics this week. So we're going to talk about the car tab debate that's going on in Washington right now.
Oh, dude. I got car tab info off the wazoo.
I'm excited to talk about it because I wasn't paying no fucking attention to it. I voted for it, obviously, because I was like, $30 car tabs, let's do it. Because this shit's crazy. When
do you have to register your car next?
Now.
All right.
We got it in the mail.
This is that you should be asking. Yeah. All right, where's my $30 car tabs?
Yeah, Jordan said that to me just when I was telling her about it yesterday, and she said, that's really funny because we got the thing in the mail just this week. Like, it's almost time to renew the Land Rover tabs. And I was like, fuck.
So we're going to get way into that later, but just spoiler alert. Expect to pay the same price.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I absolutely do. I read enough last night that I was like, all right, this is just how this is, I guess.
Apparently, this is just the way it is here in Washington State.
Yeah.
Happening.
And then the second listener request topic is the smoking age going to 21.
Yeah.
Which happened in our state, and then it happened federally, like immediately afterwards. So,
so it was within like a month or something. It was really quick.
Yeah. So it's obviously something that we can discuss, but it's no longer just something that happens in Washington State. Yeah. But one of the articles I was reading this morning, someone who was interviewed was a manager at one of the smoke shops, and I went to high school with that guy. So it was really interesting to see his name in the article. Like, yeah, I know that fucking guy.
Small town, bro.
Yeah,
small town.
Super small town. Yeah, so those are the things that we're going to talk about this week. And then in sports, we're going to talk about the Astros cheating scandal. We're going to talk about the championship rounds that happened because the football championships, divisional championships happened. And then we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, obviously. Happens in 2 next week. So it's going to be some shit.
I don't give a fuck anymore. I quit.
What?
Fuck. The Hawks destroyed me emotionally on this.
And you're over it? You just can't handle it anymore?
Like, okay, cool. Well, let me know. Yeah. Let me know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. I mean, there's one I'm kind of excited for, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So let me ask you about this. What the fuck? Oh, Joe Rogan. That's what we're going to talk about. So was it just yesterday that the ad dropped, or was it just yesterday that all of the craziness happened? Do you know? Well, I guess I can look on
I was
Twitter
like, I would grab my Twitter, but my phone's...
No, I'll look on my Twitter real quick.
I swear to God, I do that once a show. I go, oh yeah, let me just grab that. I bookmark. Oh, never mind. The phone's up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, if it was,
It was on the 23rd. So it was 2 days ago. So...
And then... the world imploded.
Yes.
Twitter blew up. The internet is dying.
Yeah. So what we are referring to, you may or may not have seen, because I think it's probably bigger on Twitter than anywhere else.
Probably.
But the Bernie Sanders campaign created an ad using a clip from one of Joe Rogan's recent podcasts, which he was talking to Barry Weiss, right? Yeah. And in that, she asked Joe Rogan who he was going to vote for in the primary, and he said he probably was going to vote for Bernie Sanders. From what I understand, there's some more to that clip, like it's been edited a little bit, that he also was talking about Tulsi Gabbard. I haven't listened to that episode, so I can't attest to that. But
you don't jump on the Barry Weiss episode?
No.
I'm ashamed of you.
Bro, I got shit going on, all right? I got so much other podcasts to listen to.
I was sick, so I was able to give myself a lot of freebie listening time. I didn't feel bad about it.
Okay, but, we'll take a brief break because I've been so wrapped up in Gordan Ramsey the last 3 weeks that I can't even barely describe it. I don't know what I don't know what the fucking deal is. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why, but I've been fucking...
Did you watch his Hot Ones episode?
I've watched it a while ago. And it must have been just a compilation video of the worst kitchens that he's ever seen or something, because then I started watching Kitchen Nightmares. And so then I'm watching him in other people's restaurants, tearing people apart and shit like that. And then I was just letting it roll. And then there had to have been an episode of Hell's Kitchen that came on, because I've watched fucking 4 seasons of Hell's Kitchen now. And I don't I don't understand. I don't know where it came from, because up until like 3 weeks ago, I just didn't give a shit about Gordan Ramsay. And now, anytime I have free time, that's what I'm fucking watching. I don't understand.
I can narrow this back to the point of origin and why you ended up at Gordan Ramsay. It's because you started to watch that great British baking show.
Dude.
That did it right there. Yeah. And next thing you know, you've become a Food Channel junkie and you're watching Gordan Ramsay.
Because Hell's Kitchen, like,
it happens to me. It happens to everybody.
Hell's Kitchen, you don't even hardly watch them cook. You know, like, they're not even really cooking. Like,
it's George. It's Ramsay just getting up there and yelling at people,
just
tearing them apart.
Dude. Yeah, it's weird. So I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it came from, but I've watched a bunch of fucking Hell's Kitchen. I found, a YouTube channel that has 17 seasons of Hell's Kitchen uncensored. So you can also hear, anytime he calls someone a fuck or a fucking donkey or a pig and shit like that. It happens all the time. Calls people cows and shit. Hilarious, bro.
Oh, I love it.
It's weird.
That's because British people swear the best.
Yeah.
Maybe next to... British people are in the top, at least. They're one or two slot, but Australians, I think, too, might have a leg up.
He hasn't called anyone the C word in the episodes that I've watched, which I've been slightly surprised about. But other people on the show have used that language, but he has not himself. Well,
that's good. That's a rough one.
Time will tell.
If he was Australian, it'd be every other word.
Yeah. And I started at like season 7, I think. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like almost at the end of season 10. So I've watched 3 seasons almost.
There you go.
Of Hell's Kitchen. It's bizarre.
No judgment, man.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
It's entertaining. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah.
It's always entertaining.
So,
I don't try to read too much realism into stuff like that. I just enjoy it for what it is.
Well, because if you watch, and maybe it's because if you watch it on network television, you don't see those seasons back to back to back. But when you watch it the way I've watched it, like you binge it like that, you can see the formula of the show,
Yeah.
Every season, someone gets put on the other team. Then you think that they're going to go, because they fucked up, but they're like, but you've done this really good thing one time. So let's see if you can flourish on the other team, So that happens every season. Every season, there's the same twists every single season, And so you're like
Survivor,
Yes.
Game plan.
And that's why it's been on for 17 seasons, because that formula has worked so well for them. At least 17, because that's how many is on YouTube. So there may even be 18 or 19, and they're just not all on here. But yeah, there's also like 9 or 10 seasons of uncensored kitchen nightmares. And
that's dope.
Dude, he's got so much content on the internet. It's fucking crazy.
That's awesome.
It's something else. He's got like a bunch of shows. Rebecca that I work with, right? Mm-hmm. The other day, she watches the trashiest TV of anyone that I know, like of absolutely anyone. So shout out to Rebecca. And,
I mean,
and this is how I know this show is shit, is because like I brought her an order the other day. And then when she brought it back to me, I had Hell's Kitchen playing on my phone, and she said, "That's a great show." She didn't hear it, she didn't anything, because I had my headphones in and she just saw it and said, "That's a great show." And I was like, I told her the same thing I told you, like, I don't understand those happen. She was like, "Oh, well, you should watch this Gordon Ramsay show and this Gordon Ramsay show. Like, these ones are all the best." And I was like, oh, God. So I've got ammo for days loaded up in the Gordon Ramsay machine gun. So.
Well, there's like a little cult behind the Gordon Ramsay thing, man.
Yeah.
Because he's got so much.
Well, and he's a real good Twitter follow. Like I was talking to Tyler about following him on Twitter. People will tweet their dishes at him and be like, "Hey, rate this dish," and he's like, "That's shit. Like, this is absolute shit. Looks fucking terrible. Oh, yeah, it's great. It's awesome." People will send him terrible looking meals or ones they think are great, just for him to be like, "No, that's fucking horrible. It's awesome. It's really good."
My latest foray into Gordon Ramsay was when my wife's cousin Tatiana was staying with us for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
What was that, a couple years ago? And,
I remember
she was all up into MasterChef Junior. And she got me watching that show.
Shit.
And next thing you know, I couldn't go, man. It was so captivating for some reason. I could not get out.
It's a totally different Gordon Ramsay. From seeing him on Hell's Kitchen to seeing him on MasterChef Junior is a completely separate Gordon Ramsay.
I think that's probably why I watched it. I was like, there's no way he could do a kid's show.
Dude,
But yeah,
but apparently he's great.
He
I've
is.
also, from what
You should watch that one. There you go. Add that to your fucking list.
From what I've heard from everyone on that show, because they'll get a reward, they win a challenge and they get a reward as a team or as an individual, and they get to kick it with Gordan Ramsay while they go out to dinner or something, or they're on a fucking yacht, or in a helicopter, and they're all talking about how hilarious he is. Like, he's so fucking funny,
Oh yeah.
And I think that he would be a great dude to kick it with. Like, he's probably a really good fucking time to just spend an afternoon with,
Well, there's a lot of talk about how much actual kitchen credit he has, but he definitely does. He
owns fucking 12 restaurants or some such shit.
Yeah, but that's not you're not in the trenches. Right. You're just always a celebrity. It was kind of the same problem Bourdain ran into sometimes, but he's got a lot of legit kitchen cred, and because of that, that's what a real chef is like.
Right.
He's a little over the top.
Yeah.
But no, that's real. The cursing down, the belittling, the throwing thing. Right. That shit is totally real. That's the way it is back there. It's fucking cutthroat. And because of that, you build up this thick skinnedness, and you have to develop that dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
And then all those people are usually generally really funny, fun, loving people.
Well, and he was a professional athlete, before he was a chef. And so I'm sure that part of that he was a professional soccer player before he was a chef, and then he broke his leg, became a chef. I swear to God, that's how it happened. Couldn't play soccer anymore, and now he's a chef. So
he's been shit talking his whole life.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the over the top aggression probably comes from having been a professional athlete, playing fucking soccer
and the theatrics comes from playing soccer.
Exactly. And so I'm not surprised. The same deal with in reverse with Action Bronson. Action Bronson was a professional chef and then broke his leg, couldn't cook for a while, started rapping, and now has fucking platinum albums. You know what I'm saying?
So,
odd thing.
Moral of the story is start breaking legs, people.
Yeah,
Your career choices get way better.
Literally break your legs and just see how you occupy your time while that happens. And
Salt of the Streets does not endorse this message.
No. No one was harmed in the making of this show. So
that is funny, though.
Okay, so this Joe Rogan thing happened, right? And Bernie Sanders, so the Bernie Sanders campaign took this clip of Joe Rogan saying that he would vote for Bernie Sanders and that he'd been consistent and that's what he likes in a politician is he's not been changed, over time and in not so many words. And
he's a real person, in other words. Right. That actually believes in what he says he does.
Right. And so
whether not arguing the ideas or not. And I will say, just because I did see the ad, it is a great ad.
It's a great ad.
I watched the entire episode with Barry Weiss, and I watched the episode with Bernie Sanders, obviously. I mean, everything that they did kind of cut little bits and pieces out. I would say very slight editing, but the overall context of the ad was 100% truthful to the conversation that was being held at the time.
Yeah.
So it was totally legit. And as soon as they dropped it, I don't know if I saw it first or I saw, who Bridget Fetisi is?
No.
Former writer for Playboy. She's kind of a very, very interesting writer and stuff like that. And she has a podcast called Walk-Ins Welcome. And she's kind of a minor leaguer in the IDW sense.
Okay.
But she was on Rogan once upon a time, and I follow her. I've been a Patreon person for her for a while.
Once upon a time.
Yeah. So she pops up my Twitter feed a lot, and she had retweeted that and was talking, she was replying to a comment from that ad, and that's how I saw the ad. And then I started going down that comment rabbit hole, reading all of the Bernie Sanders, the Bernie bros, or at least there was definitely a strong outcry from the trans community on Twitter. We'll say that much. And in a very, very negative sense, calling Joe Rogan a transphobe. And somebody even played one of his clips from when he was talking to not Bert Kreischer. Tom Segura. Yeah.
Fallon Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan's taken mad shit for his discussion, not even about trans people in general, but specifically about trans people in sports, in combat sports, in professional sports. Yep. And then when you're talking about the science behind it, and he's not a scientist and never claims to be a scientist, but he expresses what I feel is a very valid viewpoint that, you know, when you're talking about professional competition, you should be placed in the category that best fits your physiology as you were born, you know, and
as you were born,
as you know what I'm saying. And so he's, like I said, taking a lot of heat when he's talking specifically about Fallon Fox, who is a woman, but was a man who transitioned to a woman and then started fighting in the UFC. Yeah. And for the first 2 fights, didn't disclose that she was trans or anything like that. And then when it came out, she's like, oh, well, it was a personal medical issue. I didn't think that it was really anyone's business, you know, to like talk about it.
Yeah. Slight controversy after that.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of things like that happen since then, you know. I've seen a lot of articles and stuff like that talking about high school sports, and like amateur sports, you know, when people are especially banking on like scholarships and stuff like that, you know.
And there's a much greater percentage of the population that participates in those type of competitive sports versus just the pro leagues that we see all the time.
Yeah, and so there is, you know, like you're talking about in the comments, and all these people are saying that, oh, Bernie just lost my vote. And I'm, you know, I can't believe that you're going to accept the endorsement of a transphobic, homophobic, racist, alt-righter, you know, all this stuff that just shows the way that Joe Rogan and many other people in the intellectual dark web are just being distorted, you know?
Yeah.
Just absolutely intentionally distorted to make them fit some type of weird mold that they don't actually belong in, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's really weird. Like someone who's trying to have an honest discussion about something like trans people in sports and expressing a viewpoint that many, many, many people agree with, and for him and his opinion and all those people who agree with him to be completely discounted, you know, as just transphobes, so we shouldn't even listen to it. Like, I think that that's really ludicrous, you know?
Especially when what they're talking about is scientific fact. And
it shows the dark place that the far left can exist in, you know, of just completely shutting itself off, that any other opinion other than this shouldn't even be discussed, shouldn't be talked about, shouldn't be endorsed, it shouldn't be anything, shouldn't even exist.
There's
you know?
No conversation to be had.
No.
It is submit or we're done here.
The freedom of discourse, it doesn't exist, you know, in some of those portions. Like when we're talking about the Young Turks, you know, in some of those clips that we've seen, the very first one that I sent you when I started watching them, when they're calling Ben Shapiro an anti-Semite, and that he doesn't care about white nationalist anti-Semitism as long as it furthers the Israeli agenda. Yep. It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I've literally never seen him without a yarmulke on top of his head.
It's like, have you?
But he doesn't
this
care.
Person?
He whatever year it was that he was the #1 target of internet anti-Semitism in the world. Like,
I want to say like 2015 or something like that.
But he doesn't give a shit about, you know, radical white supremacist anti-Semitism. No. Like, that's a really backwards opinion that I don't think that you could really back up anywhere other than your own show, you know, where you can say, oh, well, this is just freedom of opinion, you know? Yeah. And I was watching them the other day, maybe like 2 days ago. And
there's a lot of freedom of opinion call outs on that show, by the way.
And so this is kind of what I'm going to talk about, right? Is that they'll say it's just freedom of opinion, but then they'll also talk about how they're part of new media and they're doing real journalism. You know, they're doing real journalism and real reporting and all this stuff, but don't hold it on me because it's just an opinion show. You know, at least you and I, as a podcast, as co-host, will sit down, we'll discuss facts and clearly separate, this is my opinion, this is what I think, you know? We don't ever try and pass our opinion as what is actually happening.
No.
We will lay out the facts and then say, you know, I think this and I think this and I think this and blah, 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 because that's how two people discuss topics like this. But we 100% separate our opinions from the laid out facts when we're displaying them. I think to have them so mixed up like that is fucking dangerous. And it invalidates you. You know, to have a show like that, it invalidates you. It's really weird.
And it really does. And that's the kind of stuff that really pisses me off about stuff like the PSA guys, too.
Yeah,
they're not... I don't want to say they're as bad as the Young Turks, but they're almost
not quite
worse
as
in
bad.
A different way.
Well, and I think that comes from most of them having been part of the Obama campaign, you know, they're from the world of organized politics, and they know how you have to play to exist in that world and how to get their opinions to be widely spread and accepted, you know among like the establishment left, you know.
Cenk has no idea. What I got from watching some of those TYT things lately is
scary, bro. This
is a organization of people that was built around the turning point of new media, right?
Yeah.
And they skyrocketed themselves and created themselves a nice little pocket base, if you will, of subscribers and support from the far left. And as that ideology has gone more and more mainstream every day, they've gotten more and more subscribers and more money involved. But like, even when you watch it, the idea of having that newscaster style, network news style, you know, set up behind this big desk, and then you focus in on one of them, and then there's like a little screen of pictures or videos on the other side, and then going back to the other one. It's like it's a hybrid of the old version with this new media, and it is very, very uncomfortable to watch. It feels like, I don't know, it feels disingenuous to new media.
Well, and do you know what I have?
Because you're still trying to play the same fucking game.
Yeah, right. So you know what I've noticed, to speak to that, is it reminds me a lot of Fox News, right? And the way that people used to talk about Fox News, that they had all these like super attractive blonde women in tight skirts and like, you know, semi low cut tops. And those are the people that are reporting, and they're on the TV all the time. Mm-hmm. The only consistent cast member of the Young Turks is Anna Kasparian. Everyone else switches out all the time. She's the only one that's always there, right? And I don't want to fucking, hashtag me too. That's fucking sexist. Tell me why the only one with boobs is the only one that's always on the show. Super fucking weird, right? Really weird. And it's not like, I don't know. It's not like, even if you hate the Young Turks, you'd be like, oh, well, she's just an ugly fucking rat-faced bitch. Like, she is objectively fairly attractive. And you put her on there in like tight clothes all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's very Fox Newsy for the far left. Like, for the progressive left, this is Fox News.
How do you attract all of those beta males that they do? Dangle some fucking...
bro.
Done.
And I don't,
instant
like
base.
I said, I don't like to break shit down to like, this is just some based sexual whatever, but the same thing that they, I feel, would openly accuse Fox News of, or they used to, and that's why it's more diverse now, you know, Judge Janine and fucking Tucker Carlson, and like, not that they weren't there for a long time, but there used to be way more blonde ladies on Fox News,
hey,
and
man,
there's way less
You watch
now.
the 5, they're still there.
And Joe Rogan has talked about it a lot, you know, when he's talking about, oh, and you know, they'll cross and uncross their legs, and they fucking this, and in the morning, Fox and Friends, right? Fox and Friends, they still got it. And so, weird deal. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, however long that show is, excuse me, you get that entire time of like a straight shot of some attractive woman's legs while she's sitting there in her dress.
Yep.
It's
dress or a tight skirt or
there's something to that.
Yeah. And you know, so that's, I guess, what you could separate from the two is that at least Anna Kasparian's always at a desk. You know, you don't ever like see her legs, but also when they did talk about that contest to win to go fly over there, maybe, I don't know if I sent you this video, but when Cenk Uygur was on there, they showed the video and she's up front in a white shirt that's like partially unbuttoned, fucking chest out to shit, bro. Hair all down, looking all seductive at the screen, and the other two dudes are set back. Their pictures are set back and like a little bit covered up by hers. Cenk Uygur started the fucking network at the Young Turks, but Anna Kasparian is the one that's in the middle of the picture for the ad for this contest to come and meet them. What the fuck are we really talking about here, man?
Well, it is, in their defense, it is her show now. She's the showrunner. She is the main host. Yeah.
Show. Okay. Cenk's just the one that started the network. That's no.
Yeah, and he has stepped back actually at this point more and runs like the broader network that they built or whatever.
Well, they have like they have this show, and I don't know how they're separated, right? I don't know if they're different. They're called different things, or they're just different segments, or like what the deal is. But, you know, there's the show that has Anna Kasparian that Cenk Uygur is on, and then the other guy is on that's always bitching about his healthcare and how he's sick all the time. Yeah. And then there's another show that has
I shouldn't
a completely separate group of people. And so I don't know if they're different shows or if it's just on all day and different people take over. But then there's also like another show that's called The Young Turks After Hours. That's like 3 to 4 hours. That's after their regular show talking about other shit. I don't know how anyone watches The Young Turks for 4 hours. I don't know how you could possibly fucking listen to The Young Turks for 4 hours and have an even semi-defensible opinion about fucking anything. Like, I don't get it, because that has to be the only place you're getting news if you're watching them for 4 fucking hours every day, every other day, however often they do that show. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's not a good sole news source, man.
I get TYT Hour 1 every day, and I'm like, this is a lot to handle. It's like 40 minutes. This is a lot to handle. I don't know that I could do... I can't. I don't know how they do it.
It's like that... What was that hardcore libertarian guy we used to listen to?
Stapleton? I was just, Jason Stapleton. I was just thinking about him the other day.
I haven't listened to that show in a long time.
No. Even now, I've come pretty far right since we, not like I'm in the far right, but since we started this and since we started listening to that, I've come much further to the right, and still... Fuck you, bro. He's talking about free market everything. Everything, bro. Education. If I have more money than you, of course I should get my kids should get a better education than you. Of course you shouldn't have the same access to a quality education as my kids do if you don't have the same money as me. You got me fucked up, bro. You got me fucked up. I can't. I can't with that dude.
He is a Anne Ryan-esque libertarian.
That guy
100%,
would,
like an ANCAP almost.
That guy would defend kids not getting lunches in school because their parents don't have money.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
He would.
And that's fucked up. Like I can't be with anyone who's not down to give a child everything that they could possibly need to thrive in this world.
Look at you, little progressive.
I can't, bro. I can't even. Like, even if it's a gun, even if they need a gun, give it to them. Whatever they need, just make sure they have it. You know, call me a progressive. Out of here.
Well, oh God.
So,
on that note,
with that, I think that we will get out of here for today. This was a fantastic pre-show. I want to thank everyone one last time for showing up here on our Facebook at Salt of the Streets. We have obviously our Instagram at Salt of the Streets that I have been way more active on. We have our YouTube at Salt of the Streets, where you can find this later this week. We have our own personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Don on Instagram. He's a Big Bird Offie on both of those things. And you can find all this on our almost newly rejuvenated and finalized saltofthestreets.com.
Look,
fantastic. Yeah, it's coming along really, really good. It's good. I like it. It's
a little
classy.
white supremacy.
We also need to... No, you're good. We also need to start talking to each other before we come here about what we're wearing, because we are wearing eerily similar outfits today.
All right, I'll hit wardrobe real
It's
quick.
A good thing that I wore a hat. So, that's it. Again, thank you guys for joining us. And Monday, the episode will be here, Salt of the Streets, everywhere you can get a podcast. Peace the fuck out.
Peace.